Miley Cyrus, Younger You, let's talk about it. How y'all doing? Welcome to Let's Talk About It Music Reviews Season 12. How y'all doing? Welcome to the show. We got a pretty good episode for you today. Now, I am taking a slight break from the Yeet coverage. I've been having fun with that. But now, as the Yeet coverage goes on, I'm going to be talking about tracks that I do enjoy, but there are a lot of tracks on that album that I'm not really enjoying. So I'm going to have to give that album some more time. We'll talk about that later this week. But I wanted to give Miley Cyrus, some good old coverage because this song is trending. This is a new song, and this is also a soundtrack song from the 20th anniversary of Hannah Montana. Now, I'll be honest with you, I've never watched the show, but I've spent all of my years of doing this fucking podcast show covering Miley Cyrus's fucking music. I mean, holy shit. 5+ years of just talking about Miley Cyrus. I can say that in my life, that I've been talking about this person for quite a fucking while. So, let's get into this song. Starting off with the instrumental. I say the instrumental is pretty simple. It's just kind of, your basic guitar instrumental. It kind of stays the same loop, I will be honest with you. I wish there could maybe be a switch up. But this is like an acoustic kind of emotional pop song. So, you're going to have to keep the same chords. No switching things really up. The only thing that really changes is when the instrumental kind of fades away and it's just kind of the vocals. That's the only time we get a slight instrumental switch up. So, I kind of wish there was a little bit more to it, but I guess it's, that's towards the song. The song is supposed to be simple. And I guess when you add all these switch-ups, the song doesn't become simple anymore. So if we're going for a simple type of song, this instrumental definitely works, and I think it's okay. Nothing groundbreaking, nothing where I'm going like, holy shit, this is the best Miley Cyrus song I've ever heard in my fucking life. But I will say the instrumental gets the job done. Now, starting off with the beginning verse, I do like the singing here. Every time I say this, Miley Cyrus's more mature vocals now do sound really fucking good. And the singing is always pretty nice too. I do wish the singing had maybe some switch-ups, the flow-wise. But it's the thing when you kind of talk about, 2010, that kind of era of pop music. You don't really have the way that artists flow on beats now these days. And that's kind of the similar vibe that I'm getting. And I guess I just wish there was a little bit more with the flow-wise, but vocal-wise, the lyrics-wise too, pretty good message with the song in itself, which I will say, there's a lot of songs that come out and they don't really have, good fucking messages. So I will say, the lyrics having a pretty good message, that's pretty cool. But I do wish there was a little bit more with the flow. Wish there could have maybe been some vocal switch-ups. I do like the vocal runs at the end. That's a really nice touch, and I do like the way she holds out her vocals once we get started talking about the hook. So, all those elements really do come together, in my opinion. This verses were pretty alright. Now the hook. The hook, I will say, is the best part of the song. Because I will say the way the vocals kind of run at the end, the way the flow is. And I do like how, that guitar instrumental kind of opens up more. You hear a little bit more of that fiddle. You hear some other instruments that start coming in. So I do like that too. It just makes the song sound a little bit more complex. Now, I wish I had this sound for the whole entire song. I'd feel like that'd make it even more of a better fucking experience. But I really do enjoy this hook. And then, one of the things that I do like, which we'll get at the very end, there is a bridge. And then there is a final hook that actually sounds a little different from the beginning, which, is an element that I think a lot of pop singers today don't really do. There's only been a few. No, there's only been a couple. There's only been a couple of pop artists in today's age that can, pull off this type of, bridge and ending hook. And I think that's the cool thing about pop songs because they always close off their songs really strong. And then once you get to the 2020s and then start working your way from there, you're getting a lot of songs that, don't really do a lot of that, in my opinion. Don't really have the way that they close off the song strong anymore. You don't really have that. So to see Miley Cyrus still being able to pull that off, still seeing, in 2026, we're still getting that really high quality sound, which, is pretty fucking nice in my opinion. So I really do like that. So ending off, that bridge, that final hook is really strong. The vocals are really good in my opinion. So overall, when we talk about Miley Cyrus, Younger You, really strong lyrics on this one. Simple instrumental. In my opinion, it's just a simple instrumental. But a really nice, strong couple of verses, a really nice, strong couple of hooks, and a really cool bridge and ending. So overall, I'll easily give this song a 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10, guys. What y'all think about it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? I don't know. Let me know. If you're on YouTube, Spotify, Pandora, wherever you get your podcast at, make sure you follow. Turn on notifications, guys. We're dropping new content every single day. And thank you so much for listening to this podcast episode. It means the world to me. We got more content coming up the way. More Yeet coverage. We're about to start getting into some tracks that I don't really enjoy, so that'll be fun. And yeah, guys, we got more stuff coming up. I'll see y'all later. You have a good one. Yeah, guys.